Good morning and thanks so much for tuning in. You're watching Ask Profit on NDTV Profit. My name is Alex Matthew. We'll get you answers to all of your stock-related questions, whether they're short-term or in fact long-term on this particular program. You see a number on your screen. That's where you can send your questions to us or in fact on any one of our social media platforms. Mika, we've got Saurabh Jain of SMC Global Securities and Kunal Rambia from the street joining in on today's conversation. Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time. Good morning to you. I'm going to start with you, Saurabh. Question on MGL. It's down in the dumps today. And in fact, as you just heard, it's on account of that price cut. What do you make of the stock? What would you do if you currently hold it? And if you don't, would you buy into it?
Hi, good morning, guys. See, in the last quarter also, there was some kind of a pressure on the margins with respect to the earnings of the MGL. There was lower APM gas that was coming to the MGL, and they also resorted to price cut in the month of October 2023. About 3 rupees got cut. And after the statement of Petroleum Ministry that these companies are making maximum benefit out of the reforms, and after that, MGL cutting down the prices, it clearly shows that there is going to be a huge amount of pressures on the margin, and the margins which these companies were enjoying will not be in the future. And that is what market is reacting to. If one is holding onto the stock at the current prices or making some profit or even doing notional loss, I think it is better to get rid of the stock. So it's a clear sell.
Got it. All right. Let's talk about IRB Infra. And this next question is coming in from Prince Samson. He's writing in from Coimbatore in Tamil Nadu. He's bought at levels of 61.99, nearly 62 rupees. The stock is trading lower by about 3.5% in trade today and just about that 60 level mark, so not too far away. He's looking to hold for at least a year. So, Saurabh, based on the fundamentals, would you hold on to this one?
I think all the infrastructure players will do good in the future, especially after the center elections. I mean, there are a few orders which are coming before the elections, and after that, it is expected that all the backlog will get compensated going forward. So I think infrastructure player will make a decent amount of money going forward. And if you have a horizon of 1 year, I think it is a clear.
The next count is in Polycab. We're talking about Polycab, and in fact, all right. So we've got Sri Kishore Sharma from Motihari in Bihar, who's also talking about HUL. So he's looking at two counters here. Polycab, he's bought at levels of 4,700 for a period of 3 years. And Hindustan Unilever, he's bought at levels of 2,400. Again, the perspective is for 3 years. And he's holding a reasonable share, quantum of both of these. Saurabh, on the fundamentals, therefore, what is your view on Polycab as well as HUL?
I think a few days back, we heard some corporate governance issues with respect to the Polycab stock banged down to, I think, below 4,000. Now it is pretty close to 5,000 only. I think it is better to get exit whenever such news crops up. With respect to the HUL, I think the earnings growth is quite meager with respect to the valuation. I would rather suggest to shift money from the FMCG major to the banking major like ICICI or Axis.
All right. The next question is coming in from Mohit. He's writing in from Ludhiana, and he's asking about Shipping Corporation of India, which is bought at levels of 39.4. And he's wondering about this SCI land and assets development, the disinvestment and the value unlocking that has been planned. He's been holding for quite some time seemingly, and he's planning to hold this particular Shipping Corporation of India for the next couple of years. What should his strategy be? He's making quite a bit of a sum on this particular, I don't want to call it trade, on this investment, Saurabh. I don't think that he's in a hurry to sell. So what should he bear in mind?
If you have such a long period in mind, like you can hold in for the next 2-3 years, I think you can certainly hold it. A lot of factors have already been, factors like monetization of the land bank and all things have already been discounted in the stock price also. But I think, but still money is to be made for the next 2-3 years. So it's a hold from my side.
Got it. All right. We've got Sudarshan is asking about, I believe the question is, Rolta. Let's pull up Rolta and let's see where it's currently trading. He's asking whether or not it can be bought at the current. No, he's holding 200, but he's not given us what level he's bought at. Let's pull up the chart and see where it's currently. Oh, okay. I'm guessing, gentlemen, the advice would be to get out of this if you possibly can. Right now, I don't think that there are any buyers in the stock. What's the advice? Saurabh, I'll come to you.
Not in coverage.
Not in coverage. Got it. All right. We've got Shraboni, who's writing in from Kolkata and asking about CIE India. And that's been bought at levels of 487. Let's try and pull up the chart and see where it's currently trading. It's CIE Automotive, and it's trading at about 442, so lower than the buy price. They haven't given us the time frame. So Saurabh, assuming that this is not necessarily a short-term trade, what would you do with this one?
I think all the OEMs are doing very good, and the auto ancillaries are expected to do even well. CIE is a good play, is a good proxy for the auto ancillary. I think one should hold this stock.
Understood. Saurabh, PVR Inox, interestingly, over the last few months, we've had several hits and box office collections have been nothing to sneeze at. So there seems to be a bit of a recovery, at least in terms of the offerings available. Is that argument of traction moving away from the screens to the home viewing still ongoing, or do you think that there is still scope for these for PVR Inox?
I think after the merger, there was a buzz that this company will surely make killing in the market. I mean, growing in terms of revenue and the profitability. But the traction to the OTT is actually making inroads. If you see the December numbers, December earnings, they were really disappointed the street. And after that, also I think from the next few quarters, the current pipeline for the movies doesn't seem to be too strong. So in that sense, I think the stock is seeing consistent selling and is underperforming the bursts. So I think it will continue to happen in this fashion.
Okay, fair point. All right, the next question is from a viewer that hasn't shared their name. So just a quick reminder, if you're writing to us, do let us know what your name is, ideally where you're tuning in from. It's always good to hear the various places that this show is reaching. The question is on JM Financial, and arguably one of the stocks of the day because it's down quite significantly on the back of that RBI action. The viewer has bought at levels of 92 and asking whether they should book losses at this particular juncture. Saurabh, you've probably seen the regulatory action, you've seen the response from the company, you've seen the stock reaction. What's the view on this particular one? On the basis of fundamentals, should you exit?
I think the RBI action has come on the 30% of the profitability from the segment from where the company was getting 30% of the profitability, if I am correct. So I think it is a bad news for the companies and the operations. So in my sense, I think it is better to exit.
All right, we've got Lakshmi Narasimhan from Chennai who's asking about ITI. Let's try and pull up the stock and see what it's currently doing. He hasn't mentioned the time frame, and by the way, viewers, if you'd like to have a specific answer on this, whether it's long term or short term, do specify what you intend to hold the stock for. I'm going to assume that this is a fundamental question. Saurabh, any view on ITI, and would you suggest a fresh entry?
Would not be able to comment.
Okay, fair point. So that makes my job a little easier. Okay. Dr. Jamkar from Pune is asking this next question. He's asking about Titagar rail system, or rather Titagar wagons, right? Titagar rail. This is a counter, of course, that has seen a tremendous run up. It's down in trade today. But the question I guess a lot of investors are asking is what is the kind of upside based on the spending that the government has in the railway space? Do you have specific coverage on this, Saurabh? And if so, what's the view?
I think the company has good order book and the government spending is even good in this industry, in the railway sector. But most of the good news in the order book have already been priced. Look at the stock; it is trading at 12 times to book value. I mean, the earnings have yet to follow, but the stock price have already gotten up. I have already shoot up. So in my sense, I think it's better to take some money, some profit of the table.
All right, take some money off the table is the view on Titagar Rail. It's run up, what, 250% over the last 1 year or so. Let's talk about Shivaram's question. He's writing in from Hyderabad and he's asking about Jubilant Food. And the price is 485 that he's bought at. So a little above his current, above the current market price. The question is for you, Saurabh, on the fundamentals. I think a lot of people have spoken about the propensity in cities like Mumbai of people going beyond the brands that Jubilant is operating, and maybe to a certain extent the company seeing pressure on that end. Is that any concern at all, or would you say that you can hold this counter for the long term without any tension?
I think these concerns are very much can be easily seen on the operational side of the company. I mean, on the operational side, look at the numbers. And the company is finding very difficult to grow the revenue, the same stores grow, the profitability and all. And that is why I think the stock is tanking. In my sense, I think it is a sell.
All right. Gentlemen, on that note, that brings us to the end of this particular edition of Ask Profit. It's been an absolute pleasure having you with us and answering all the questions that you did. And viewers, it's been my absolute pleasure bringing you this show. Hopefully, the answers that were discussed on this particular platform helped you, even if your specific question was not answered. We'll be back tomorrow at the same time to take your questions. Do stay tuned, lots more coming up on NDTV Profit.